If you've been paying every single bill on time, every single month, and your credit score still hasn't moved the way you expected, I can almost guarantee this is the reason. Credit utilization is the most misunderstood factor in the entire credit scoring system, and it's the number one mistake I see beginners make, not because they're careless, but because nobody actually explains how it works in a way that makes the fix obvious. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this happens and exactly what to do about it. Let's start with why paying on time isn't the full picture. Payment history is 35% of your score, and it's genuinely the most important single factor, but it only measures whether you paid, not how much of your available credit you were using when the bureau took its snapshot. Credit utilization is 30% of your score, the second largest factor, and it measures something completely different: the percentage of your available credit that's currently in use. You can have a flawless payment record and still have a mediocre score, purely because your utilization is working against you every single month without you realizing it. So what exactly is credit utilization? It's a simple ratio: your current balance divided by your credit limit, expressed as a percentage. If you have a credit card with a $2,000 limit and your balance sitting at the moment your card issuer reports to the bureaus is $600, your utilization on that card is 30%. The commonly cited guideline is to stay under 30%, but if you're aiming for an excellent score, under 10% is meaningfully better, and people with the highest scores often sit in the single digits. Here's where it gets more nuanced, and this is something a lot of explainers skip entirely. There are actually two utilization numbers that matter, not one. The first is per card utilization, which is the ratio on each individual card. The second is overall utilization, which is your total balances across every card you own, divided by your total available credit across every card. Both numbers get factored into your score, and having one card maxed out while others sit empty can hurt you even if your overall number looks fine on paper. For example, imagine you have 3 cards, one with a $5,000 limit and a $4,000 balance, and 2 others with a $1,000 limit each, both sitting at 0. Your overall utilization looks like 4,000 out of 7,000, which is about 57%, already high. But your per card utilization on that first card alone is 80%, which scoring models flag as a red signal regardless of your overall number. This is exactly why spreading balances evenly, or paying down your highest single card balance first, matters as much as your total number. Now let's talk about what I call the statement date trap, because this single misunderstanding is responsible for more stuck score confusion than anything else. Your credit card issuer does not report your balance to the bureaus on your due date, and it doesn't wait for you to pay it off. It reports your balance on your statement closing date, which is typically somewhere between 10 and 25 days before your actual due date. This means that even if you pay your card off in full every single month, like a financially responsible person absolutely should, you can still show up with high utilization on your credit report, simply because whatever balance existed on your statement date got locked in and reported before your payment even happened. This is the exact mechanism behind the number one mistake beginners make. They assume that because they always pay their balance in full, utilization can't possibly be hurting them. It absolutely can, and often is, purely because of this timing gap between statement date and due date. Related to this is what I call the zero balance myth, the belief that paying your card down to exactly 0 before the statement closes is the ideal move. It's not, and this surprises people. If your reported balance is 0 on every single card, Some scoring models actually treat this slightly less favorably than a very small reported balance, somewhere around 1 to 10%, because a consistent zero can look like the card isn't being used at all, which provides less positive data for the algorithm to score you on. The actual ideal isn't zero. It's a small, low balance being reported, typically under 10%, which shows the card is active and well managed. Let's walk through real numbers to make this completely concrete. Imagine someone with a single credit card, a $3,000 limit, and they spend around $1,500 a month on groceries, gas, and regular bills. If their statement closes mid-cycle while that full $1,500 balance is outstanding, their reported utilization is 50%, despite paying it off completely 2 weeks later before the due date. 50% utilization is genuinely dragging their score down every single month, invisibly, while they assume they're doing everything right. Now imagine the same person makes one simple change. A few days before their statement closing date, they make a payment bringing their balance down to around $200, then let the statement generate, then pay off whatever remains before the actual due date as usual. Their reported utilization drops from 50% to under 7%. Same spending habits, same eventual full payment, completely different number reported to the bureaus every month going forward. This single change alone commonly moves scores up by 20 to 60 points within 1 to 2 reporting cycles for someone who was previously in this exact situation. So here's the exact strategy to fix this, broken into clear steps. First, find your statement closing date for every credit card you own. This is different from your due date, and it's usually visible in your online account or app under statement or billing details. Second, a few days before that closing date each month, make a payment that brings your balance down to somewhere between 5 and 10% of your limit, not necessarily to zero, based on what we covered about the zero balance myth. Third, if you have multiple cards, check both your overall and per card utilization, and prioritize paying down whichever single card has the highest individual percentage first, even if it's not your largest balance in dollar terms. Fourth, there's one more layer worth mentioning for people who want to optimize this further. Some people set a recurring calendar reminder a few days before each statement date, specifically for this purpose, rather than relying on memory. Given that this single factor is worth 30% of your entire score, and given that the fix requires no additional spending discipline beyond what you're likely already doing, this is genuinely one of the highest leverage 5-minute habits you can build into your monthly routine. It's also worth addressing a related question people ask constantly. Does it matter which specific card I use for spending if I have multiple cards? To some extent, yes. If you have one card with a much higher limit than the others, routing more of your regular spending through that higher limit card, while making sure to still pay it down before the statement date, tends to keep your per card percentages more balanced across your entire portfolio. Conversely, funneling most of your spending onto your lowest limit card, even if you always pay it off, creates a pattern where that specific card's utilization spikes every single cycle, which drags down that card's individual percentage even while your overall number looks fine. So here's your complete action plan, laid out with enough detail that you can actually follow it starting today rather than just nodding along. First, log into every single credit card account you have, right now if possible, and find the statement closing date specifically, not the payment due date, since those are two different dates and confusing them is the root of this entire problem for most beginners. Second, set a recurring calendar reminder for 3 to 5 days before each card's closing date, labeled clearly as a paydown reminder so you don't confuse it with your regular bill payment reminder. Third, on that reminder date each month, check your current balance on that card and pay it down to somewhere between 5 and 10% of the limit, not to exact zero, based on everything we covered about the zero balance myth. Fourth, if you're carrying balances across multiple cards, don't split your attention evenly. Prioritize whichever single card has the highest individual utilization percentage first, even if it's not your largest dollar balance, since that's the one most likely to be flagged by scoring models. Fifth, continue making your normal, full payment by the actual due date exactly as you already do. This entire strategy doesn't require you to pay anything extra. It simply shifts the timing of part of a payment you were already going to make. And sixth, revisit this process every single month going forward, since utilization is recalculated constantly and isn't a problem you fix once and forget about. If your score has felt stuck despite doing everything else right, this is almost certainly the missing piece, and it's genuinely one of the easiest fixes in the entire credit building process once you understand the timing behind it. If this finally explained why your score wasn't moving, subscribe. New credit and personal finance videos go up every week. And let me know in the comments what your utilization looks like right now, and whether you